Hey everyone, it's Holly with Bella Creative Media, and today I'm going to show you how to make a flyer very similar to this one. I did make this one for Freddie and Robin with 365 Fitness, and I did it in Adobe Illustrator, but I am going to show you how to do it in Picmonkey today. Picmonkey is a free resource that is online at picmonkey.com. And I realize that not everybody has access to Adobe Illustrator, but you can do something very similar, if not better, on Picmonkey, and it is a free resource. Now, when I pull up Picmonkey, you're going to see that I do have a lot of extra features on my Picmonkey because I do pay for the upgraded version. However, you can certainly use the free version for a very long time. It's very good, it's awesome, it's user-friendly, but just note that some of the features that I have may not be available on the free version. So here we go, let's get started. Let's pull up Picmonkey. Now, when you go to design, you'll see that there's a lot of different options. There's the standard square, which is used for social media. They have a Facebook cover preset size 4x6, 5x7, 8x10. And of course, if you know the dimensions that you want them to be in pixels, you can go ahead and create a custom size. Well, why can't I control my cursor? You can create a custom size. However, I know I'm going to do a square social media flyer for them. So I'm just going to go ahead and click the square. Now, it pops up automatically as a white canvas. If you want to make it a transparent canvas, which in this particular instance we're not, you would go ahead and click this button over here on the left that says transparent. And then anything you do on top of it, it'll be transparent in the background. However, that's not what I'm going to be doing here. I am going to be doing a black background for the most part. So I'm going to change that color to black. Is that right? Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and start by pulling up the picture of the girl with the kettlebell. So to pull that up, I want to apply the color. Go over here to the butterfly on the left, which is the overlays. You're going to click your own and find the image that you want to pull up. Now here she is. It's a very large image, so it did pull up most of the screen. I'm going to reduce that size and I'm going to drag it up here closer to the top. That looks about good. Now, don't worry about any of the excess image. This excess part right here that you see will not be saved. The only thing that will be saved and that you will see for your end product will be what is inside the square. Now, I did flip the image photo for the original photo, so let's go ahead and do that here. Ah, there she is. Let's bring it over to the other side. Okay, I think it looks good. From here, if you notice on the other flyer, which let me get that for you, I have a white background here. Now, the reason I did the white on the bottom is because the logo they provided for me does have a white square around it, and I'll show you what I mean in a little bit. But that does have a white square, and I didn't want it to be like this one little tiny white square and then the rest of it black, so I color blocked it and put a white rectangle right there. So let's go ahead and do that. With that, we're already in the overlay section. Go up here to the left to the geometric category and pull up a rectangle, and we are going to color that rectangle white. So you're going to want to go up to the right where it says the overlay and you see the color 1, color 2. If I wanted to have a border, color 1 would be the border, but I don't want a border, so I'm just going to do everything all white, and the color code for all white is 6Fs. So just going to type in 6Fs, and I'm going to expand it and drag it down where I want it to be. Now, one thing about Picmonkey is you do have an insane amount of options. So here's my white rectangle. If I wanted to fade it and show some of the background before, I can do that by scrolling up and down the fade to blend it in a little bit more, have different shades of gray. But I don't want to do that for this, but I did want to show you that that was an option. But it's not going to work for my flyer today. So here I have the basic outline for my flyer, and then everything else is text or logos is going to be added on top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to combine everything, and what you're going to do is come up here to the top where you see that arrow pointing down and it says combine all image elements. Right now, I can move these. So if I happen to click on something by mistake and I move it, then it's going to be difficult to get it back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine all the elements. So this is now the basic layout. And from here, I'm going to add the text and the logo just like this. I'm going to come back to the overlays, click on my own image because I need to get that logo. Now, if you notice, this is why I did the background the way I did. This logo is done in with a white background. So I'm going to reduce that to fit inside of my square. I think that looks good. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. You can play around with it as you want. Now, of course, your flyer is going to look a little bit different because your elements are going to be different, your images, your logo. But this is just how I duplicate. I'm just going to show you how I duplicated this in Picmonkey. Okay, so here we have the logo. I'm going to go ahead and combine that new element just so I don't move it. We're going to start adding text. So come over here to the uppercase and the lowercase t. Here are all the options of text, and you can see that there is a lot of them. Anything with a crown next to it is in the upgraded paid version. Anything that does not have a crown onto it is free to use, and this is what Picmonkey provides. Of course, if you click on yours, this will be all the fonts that I own. Oops, let me click on that. Okay, well, I don't know why my computer has stopped working. Oh my goodness, why didn't you know what I'm doing a video? So here I clicked on my fonts. These are all the fonts that I have. And I do have an abundance of fonts, as you can see. I probably have more fonts than what Picmonkey has to offer, but that's because I am a font whore and I purchase fonts any chance that I get. So let's go back to ours because I did happen to use the impact font in Adobe Illustrator, so I'm going to continue with that font here. Here we're going to add the text. I'm going to drag it down, and we're going to start with the call for more information. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller because 125 font is just way too big. That, of course, is way too small. And I think 72 is just right. And I'm going to center it. That's because I like things centered. Okay. Because I'm going to make the Robin and Freddie and their phone numbers a little bit bigger, I'm going to do a new text box because it's going to be a different size. I'm going to center it. And let's go ahead and start with, let's try 144, see what happens. Start with Robin, and actually I think I did dots. And then Freddie. If you happen to be in the Murrieta and Temecula area, I do suggest you give them a call. They are fabulous trainers, and they work out of 951 Fitness. So we're going to expand that out. And this is just a little bit too big for my liking. Let's reduce it some more. Again, this is all subject to your taste and what you're doing and what you're making and how big the canvas is that you have to work with. So here, I think this is pretty good. I think this works for me. I think it's centered. I think the sizing works. Okay, now we're going to move on to, let's take a look at what their flyer looks like now. Take your fitness to a new level. So, you know what? Looking at the flyer, I think this needs to be bigger. That's the beauty of this, is that I can change it and tweak it. Okay. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to go add a new text box, and we're going to make it a yellow color, but not that yellow because that's kind of pukey. Let's see here. I like that yellow. Nice and golden. And we will start with Take Your Fitness. And I'm going to expand it out because I don't want it to be a stubby box like that. Okay, now I believe this was up by her head. We're not going to cut off her head because that would just be a little creepy. So we will make it a little smaller. Okay, there you go. I believe in the other flyer I had outlined it with another color. I believe I outlined it with white. I do not have that option in Picmonkey, but this still looks very, very good. We're going to move on, adding another text box, and this text box is going to be white. So the code for white is 3Fs. However, you can make it whatever color you want. And we're going to start with the list items that they have for their flyer, which they have one-on-one and group training. And again, we can resize this in just a minute. Competition prep. They also have military basic training. So if you're thinking of going into the military, they'll help you get ready for it because it is flippin' hard, I'm sure. Sports specific training. Now I can't see what I'm writing here. I'm sure I'm making some errors. Nope, not yet. Okay, and the last item that they have listed is nutritional counseling. So clearly this is too big, so I'm going to reduce the size. Let's try 96. Why isn't this working? Oh, not 720. That's just ridiculous. This is the beauty of doing videos. Okay, so I've centered it. I've made it a smaller font. I think this looks pretty good. I think it looks even. It looks, I don't know. I like it. I think this is going to do well right here in the center. It is centered. It's font size 96. The same as, well, this one's actually 98. And then the last thing they wanted to promote, so we're going to add a new text box because I'm going to make it a little bit bigger in a different color, was their bootcamp classes that they are starting March 5th. So I'm going to make that a red color. Now, if you don't know the colors, the hex code colors, you can go ahead and drag this little thing over here to find a color that you like. If you know the color you want, you can go ahead and put in the code right there, which I happen to know the color that I want, which is a red. I'm going to center it. And the next thing is bootcamp starting March 5th. And I know it's too big. I will change that. Okie dokie. And that might be just still even a little bit too big. So let's change it to 130. Okay, and again, in the other flyer with Adobe Illustrator, you have the ability to outline the letters, and in Picmonkey you don't. But I still think that looks very good, and it is very similar to the flyer I created in Adobe Illustrator. And this was free to use. Every element that I used on here was a free element with Picmonkey. So let's take a look real quick. After you're done with this flyer, the one thing I want to tell you is you have to make darn sure that you've spelled everything correctly. Because once you've saved it and you've X'd out of here, you cannot get it back to be edited again. It's done. This has to be your final finished product. So make sure you have checked for spelling when you go to save it. Go up here to the top bar, click save, title it, which I will do 365. It's already in a JPEG, and you would just save it to your computer. I'll save it to my desktop. So that is saved. Now what I will do is pull up the old one and pull up the new one. And you know what? This really took me not long at all. So this is the one I did in Adobe Illustrator. This is the one I did in Picmonkey. Again, a free resource. This one you have to pay for. They are very similar. Are they different? Yes, they are, but this is a very good option if you don't have a lot of resources. So I hope you'll give Picmonkey a try. It is one of my favorite free resources that is available. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give me a big thumbs up. And we will do another video next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.